So in this video, I'm going to try to give you a shopping list to prepare for the summer heat wave and for what I believe are imminent rolling blackouts, particularly in Texas. This video assumes two things. Number one, that you have a household of 2 people, and number 2, that the power will be out for 5 days. And those are important multipliers. Certain things don't make sense for long durations, and we'll get into that. This video will be broken up into segments based on dollar amount. I know we have people on a budget, so if you have $100 to spend, $250 to spend, $500 to spend, $1,000 to spend. First thing I would buy is 2 5-gallon water cooler jugs and then fill them up. They're about $10, so that's 20 bucks. Walmart sells a multi-pack, of 20-ounce bottles for $5. I am typically not a fan of them because the plastic is really flimsy. They're not really durable at all, but you can get the equivalent of 5 gallons of water for $5. That is the cheapest thing anywhere, period. You couldn't buy a container and fill it up at a faucet for $1 a gallon. The other thing that the little, single serve bottles give you is portion control. Like, here's your water for the day, here's your water to do dishes, here's your water to go sponge bath with, and so you'd have sort of less waste and less spillage. Also, it solves one of my big problems with bulk water, which is weight. I really love 7-gallon aquatainers, but they're heavy, and I'm not a big guy. I can barely move one, and my wife can just barely move one. I'm actually going to change my recommendations that I made for years and years and years and years, and for a budget, these pallets of 20-ounce water bottles from Walmart is really tough to beat for the dollar amount and for what you're getting for the price. So stack them up. Number 2, I would buy a 20,000 milliamp hour USB battery pack to charge a phone. They're about $30. We're at $50. I would spend $10 on a 10-pack of Mylar space blankets to cover up your windows to reflect the sun. So now we're at $60. And then I would spend 40 bucks on non-perishable snacks, things that you can munch on that you don't have to cook, Pop-Tarts, or chips or crackers or snacks or whatever, something that doesn't require cooking, doesn't require refrigerating. So you've got water, you've got a way to charge your phone, and you've got some food. And that's $100. Round 2. Let's say you start with that and then you come up with another 150 bucks. So now total budget is $250. Okay. Then buy more water cooler jugs, because those 2 5-gallons, that's just for drinking. That's not for bathing or for flushing toilets, by the way. You're not going to flush your toilet, or sponging or washing dishes or anything like that. So buy more of them, basically double everything that we talked about earlier. And then I would buy a nice ice chest. Nice meaning like around the $100 mark. And the reason for that is the $20 ones, which I own, they don't hold ice worth a crap. They just don't. So Academy has a Coleman Marine brand that is much better insulated for around $100. And you might be able to get a couple of days worth of ice retention out of that if you were really smart about it. So a nice ice chest, and fill it full of ice. And then I would probably spend the 60 bucks on a 20-watt, approximately, folding solar panel that is USB only. So that will recharge your USB battery pack, and so you can recharge your phone, assuming you have the ability to aim south. If you're in an apartment that has a window that faces north, forget about it, you're screwed. In that case, I would buy another 20,000 milliamp hour USB battery for 30 bucks or so. Okay, so it's your phone is about 5,000 milliamps, so a 20,000 milliamp will charge your phone about 4 times approximately, or 2 phones twice, obviously. Okay, so we're at 250. All right, So $500. Let's say we get to $500. Now you can start to get into some real comfort things. It is possible for you to go to Harbor Freight or Amazon and get a 1,000-watt generator for $180. Sometimes they're on sale for closer to $100. So now we're talking about generators. Well, that 1,200-watt generator is likely not going to run your refrigerator. It is likely not going to kick on a window AC unit. It will certainly run a box fan, absolutely, or a couple of box fans, because box fans only draw about 50 watts. So you can make a decision at this point. If you live in a house, because you can't do it in an apartment because you'll die. If you live in a house, you can make a decision to buy a really small generator and a gas can and extension cords and fans, and you could start to get into, you know, some comfort-related power things. If you don't want to deal with the noise, or you're not in a house, or it's just too dangerous, which it probably is, then you could get a larger USB, a larger folding solar panel that's USB, that's like 100 watts or so, and one of those USB fans. This is the first time that I will recommend this at the $500 mark, because the little $10 USB fans that are this big that plug into a USB port just don't move enough air. Unless you hold it like this up against your face, they don't move enough air to do anything. Now, I've seen some nifty ones that are designed to clamp onto baby strollers for blowing your baby that have a battery in the bottom of them, but at best, they last for 8 hours, at best. So if we're trying to get to the 5-day mark, if you don't have a way to replenish that battery, there's no point. It's a one and done thing. I would rather you spend the $20 on more water jugs. You're actually going to get cooler spraying yourself off with water, taking a sponge bath, than with this little fan. So more water is better, but if you have if you get one of the large USB fans, and I'll put some links, if you have a way to replenish that power, then it may start to make sense, but that's only at around the $500 mark. So let's say we get to $1,000. You can buy a 2,200 watt Westinghouse generator for around $400, and then you spend $100 on gas cans, extension cords, all the periphery, and then you can go to Walmart and get a window air conditioning unit for $100. And you could run that on your generator if you were in a house, not in an apartment. Generators go on sale all the time, but to recap, there's a lot of moving parts with the generator. You got to have fuel and fuel storage. You have to have oil. You have to have extension cords. You got to worry about noise and your neighbors. That's why I do solar, so that way I don't have to worry about all those things. But it's more expensive, so there's a lot of calculus involved. Or if you're in an apartment, you could buy a small-ish solar panel system. There are knockoff Jackeries in the 1,000 watt-hour territory that are around $400, and then a 200 watt folding solar panel for around $150 to replenish that battery, and that would be enough to run a Pedestal fan. It would do it silently, without gas, without noise, without fumes, etc. But you're only going to run a box fan, and that's about it. If you did a generator, now you could conceivably run your refrigerator or your chest freezer and keep your food, safe at this point. But this is my level of priority. If you only have $100 to spend, the food in your fridge is going to go bad, most likely. You're not going to have air conditioning at a $100 budget. I wouldn't bother with solar at $100. I think that there's more important things to prioritize. So at the $100 tier, it's as much, 2 5-gallon water jugs, a USB battery, some space blankets to cover up your windows to try to keep the heat out, food. That's $100. $250 is sort of more of that. plus an ice chest, an ice chest, ice, small USB folding solar panel. And that's $250. You're still going to lose all the food in your fridge. It's just going to happen. You're not going to have air conditioning. You're not going to have a fan. But you'll have enough water you can kind of towel yourself off, which is what I did during the blizzard when we lost water. I did a sponge bath with some stored water. And then at $500, sort of all of that is all kind of stacking on top of each other. But you could buy a really cheap generator if you really wanted to. I don't think that it's worth it. I don't think that the noise and the hassle and the danger is worth it, but you theoretically could. A larger solar panel, another USB battery, and one of the medium-sized USB fans you could do at the $500 mark. More food, more water. You're still going to lose all the food in your fridge. But it's really not till you get about to the $1,000 mark where you really kind of get to make the decision of, am I going to go generator? Am I going to go with a larger solar system? And you only have sort of a half a chance of saving what's in your food. So I hope that this was interesting, and I'll put some links to this stuff down below, and I'll list out these kind of tiers. It's if the calculus for this all changes depending upon how long of a duration you are preparing for. If you think that your blackout is only going to last for 2 days, if you have a new refrigerator and you don't open it, your food might live. And if you're only preparing for 2 days, then maybe having one of those little battery-powered fans that you run at night might be reasonable. Just keep in mind what its runtime is, and if it's only 8 hours, then it's a one-night deal only. Actually, a year ago, I went camping with a friend in a tent. It was 110 degrees outside. It was 95 degrees at night, but it was just one night. So, think about what your duration is, and then think about how devices that you want to run, how long can you run them, and how long do you replenish them? And that's where kind of solar comes into play, or generators to replenish. My phone will last for a day, so if I think the blackout's only going to last for 6 hours, okay, whatever. But at the 5-day mark, you're likely going to lose your food. And I don't know if you'll lose your water. You might not. During the freeze, we lost water for 1 day and then got it back. But then we had a boil water notice. Well, I hope that this was interesting and gave you some stuff to think about. Like I said, all this changes depending upon number of people and how long you're preparing for. But water is going to be the most important thing, most likely, and keeping your phones charged. So, but I hope that if you're on a budget and you're worried about what's about to happen or what could happen in the next couple of weeks, this gave you kind of some baby steps to be thinking about. So if you got this far and you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and hit the notification. Thanks, to see you in the next one.